In 2006, Yahoo offered Mark Zuckerberg $1 billion for Facebook. He was 22 years old. Facebook had 8 million users and zero profit. His board wanted to sell. His investors wanted to sell. Every rational person in the room told him to take the money. He said no. His board was furious. His investors threatened to remove him. One board member said Zuckerberg was throwing away generational wealth on a college social network with no business model. Zuckerberg didn't have a counteroffer. He didn't have a plan. He had one answer: Facebook wasn't finished yet. Today, Facebook's parent company, Meta, is worth $1.4 trillion. The $1 billion Yahoo offered in 2006 wouldn't buy 0.1% of it today. And Yahoo, the company that made the offer, sold itself for $4.5 billion in 2017, and ceased to exist as an independent company. The 22-year-old, who turned down $1 billion, was right. Every person in that room who told him to sell was wrong. Mark Zuckerberg was not a startup dreamer. He was a programming prodigy, who had been building software since he was 12 years old. He was born in White Plains, New York in 1984. His father was a dentist, who taught him programming as a child. By the time he was a teenager, he had built a messaging program called ZuckNet, that connected his father's dental office to their home. AOL and Microsoft both approached his family about buying it. His father turned them down. At Exeter, one of the most competitive prep schools in America, he built a music recommendation program called Synapse, that analyzed your listening habits, and predicted what you'd want to hear next. AOL and Microsoft approached him again. He turned them down. He was 16. He arrived at Harvard in 2002, with a reputation that preceded him. Within months, he had built a program called Course Match, that let students see which courses their classmates were taking. Then FaceMash, a site that pulled student photos from Harvard's online directories, and let users rate their attractiveness. Harvard shut it down within days. The university threatened disciplinary action. Zuckerberg wasn't embarrassed. He used the controversy as proof of concept. Hundreds of students had flooded the site within hours of launch. The demand was obvious. The product was wrong. He started thinking about the right one. In late 2003, 3 Harvard seniors approached Zuckerberg with a proposal. Cameron Winklevoss, Tyler Winklevoss, and Deviant Narendra were building a social network for Harvard students called Harvard Connection. They needed a programmer. Zuckerberg agreed to help. He never delivered. For weeks he sent emails saying the project was almost ready. Meanwhile, he was building his own version. On February 4, 2004, before he delivered a single line of code to the Winklevoss team, Zuckerberg launched the Facebook.com. Within 24 hours, 1,200 Harvard students had signed up. Within a month, it had spread to Yale, Columbia, and Stanford. The Winklevoss twins filed a lawsuit. They settled in 2008, for $65 million in Facebook stock. At the time of settlement, that stock was worth $65 million. By 2012, it was worth $300 million. By 2024, it was worth over $3 billion. They sued Zuckerberg for stealing their idea, and accidentally became billionaires because of it. The settlement they thought was a victory, multiplied 50 times over while they watched. The Winklevoss lawsuit was public. The betrayal that hurt more was private. Eduardo Saverin was Zuckerberg's best friend at Harvard. He co-founded Facebook. He put in the first $19,000 that kept the servers running. His name was on the original incorporation papers alongside Zuckerberg's. His title was CFO. In the summer of 2004, Zuckerberg moved Facebook's operations to Palo Alto, California. Saverin stayed in New York. Sean Parker, the co-founder of Napster, had entered the picture, and was pushing Zuckerberg to think bigger, move faster, and restructure the company. That restructuring quietly diluted Saverin's stake, from 34% to 0.03%. The legal mechanism was a share issuance, that Saverin had signed off, without fully understanding its implications. By the time he realized what had happened, his ownership of the company he co-founded had been reduced to almost nothing. Saverin sued. They settled. The exact terms were sealed, but Saverin's final stake at the time of Facebook's 2012 IPO was approximately 2%. On a $104 billion valuation, that was worth roughly $2 billion. His original 34% stake would have been worth $35 billion. The man who wrote the first check walked away with 6 cents on every dollar he was owed. By 2006, Facebook had millions of users, and almost no revenue. Zuckerberg had turned down Yahoo's billion-dollar offer. The board was nervous. The product was growing, but the business model was invisible. The answer was hiding in the data. Every action a Facebook user took, every post, every like, every friend request, every link clicked, every photo uploaded, was a data point. Facebook knew who you were, where you lived, what you liked, who your friends were, what you bought, what you watched, what you believed politically. No advertising platform in history had ever had access to behavioral data this precise. In 2007, Facebook launched the social ads platform. Advertisers could target users not just by demographics, but by specific interests, behaviors, and social connections. A 28-year-old woman, who had recently liked 3 wedding pages and 2 jewelry brands, could be shown an engagement ring advertisement within hours. The targeting precision was unlike anything the advertising industry had seen since Google's AdWords. But where Google captured intent, what you were searching for, Facebook captured identity, who you actually were. By 2012, Facebook had $5 billion in annual revenue, almost entirely from advertising. By 2021, that number was $117 billion. The college social network with no business model in 2006, had become the most precise advertising machine ever built. Zuckerberg's instinct for buying threats before they became competitors, was as sharp as his instinct for building products. 2012, Instagram. Facebook paid $1 billion, for a photo-sharing app with 13 employees and 0 revenue. The tech industry called it insane. Instagram had no business model, no profit, and had existed for less than 2 years. Zuckerberg had seen it, eat into Facebook's photo-sharing traffic, and made the call in a weekend. Today, Instagram alone is estimated to be worth over $100 billion. 2014, WhatsApp. Facebook paid $19 billion for a messaging app. $19 billion for an app that charged users $1 per year and had 55 employees. Every analyst called it the most overpriced acquisition in tech history. Today, WhatsApp has over 2 billion active users. It is the primary communication platform for billions of peoples across Asia, Africa, America, and Europe. The $19 billion bought Facebook a permanent presence in every major market on Earth. 2014, Oculus. Facebook paid $2 billion for a virtual reality headset company. The tech world laughed. The acquisition looked premature at best, and delusional at worst. A decade later, Zuckerberg had renamed the entire company, Meta, and was betting its future on virtual reality. Each acquisition looked wrong in the moment. Each one was the right call. Facebook's growth came with consequences. Its own internal research documented, and its executives chose not to act on. In 2021, a former Facebook data scientist named Frances Haugen leaked thousands of internal documents to the Wall Street Journal. The documents showed that Facebook's own researchers had concluded that Instagram was harmful to the mental health of teenage girls, making body image issues worse in 32% of cases. Facebook had this research. They buried it. The documents also showed that Facebook's algorithm was specifically designed to maximize engagement, and that outrage and emotionally provocative content drove more engagement than accurate or neutral content. The algorithm was making divisive content more visible, because divisive content kept people on the platform longer. Cambridge Analytica harvested personal data of 87 million Facebook users, without their consent, and used it to target political advertising in the 2016 U.S. presidential election. Facebook had allowed third-party developers to access user data at a scale that made this possible. Zuckerberg testified before Congress in 2018. He was asked 600 questions across 2 days. He answered fewer than half of them directly. A $1.4 trillion company, built on human connection, had internal documents proving it was damaging the humans it connected. Eduardo Saverin co-founded Facebook, wrote the first check, signed the first papers, walked away with 2% of what he built. His original stake would be worth $35 billion today. Instead, $2 billion. He renounced his U.S. citizenship in 2012 and moved to Singapore. He has not been publicly involved in any major technology company since. The Winklevoss twins sued Zuckerberg for stealing their idea. Settled for $65 million in stock. That stock is worth over $3 billion today. They didn't get justice. They got something more valuable by accident. Yahoo offered $1 billion in 2006, for a company worth $1.4 trillion today. Yahoo sold itself for $4.5 billion in 2017. The acquirer became the acquired. The company that tried to buy Facebook sold itself for less than 0.5% of what Facebook became. Mark Zuckerberg launched the Facebook.com from a Harvard dorm room in February 2004. He was 19 years old. 20 years later, he controls one of the 5 most valuable companies in human history. He didn't build it cleanly. He didn't share it fairly. He didn't run it without consequence. He built it anyway. And nobody who told him to sell it in 2006 has any claim on what it became.